Hi everybody, good morning. Hope everybody is well. I'll give everyone a few minutes to log on. I think I'm just about on time, yeah, bang on time. So say hi if you're there, let me know if you can hear me. Had a change of location today. We've got builders next door and all I can hear in my office is bang, 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 drill, drill, drill. That doesn't get tiring after all day. So yeah, let me know if you can hear me. Say hi if you're there. So if you've got any questions, I'll try and answer them whilst I'm on. So I'm Charlotte, I'm the fertility coach, dealing with all things fertility, miscarriage, pregnancy related. So please let me know if you've got any questions. If it's something that you don't want to ask on here, that's perfectly understandable. You can find me on Facebook, so I'm the Fertility Coach, and on Instagram, I'm Fertility Coach UK. So head over and ask me a question there. I do also have a free, private, secure, safe group that I've just started, which is the Fertility Coach support group. And that's for women like me and maybe like some of you that have gone through fertility and infertility and are struggling, have questions, need some support. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to talk about emotions today and the emotions that come with fertility struggles and infertility. So a lot of people, when they come to me and we start to work together, will say, I just don't know what to do. And it comes from a place of desperation. And if you've struggled with fertility issues and infertility, or you've had a miscarriage, or you've been diagnosed with something and told that you are going to struggle, it's desperation. You don't know what to do. You just want to be able to do something. And certainly if you are somebody like I was that struggled with control, and I like to be in control, I like to feel like I'm doing something, then it can be a really hard pill to swallow. So a lot of people, when they first come to me, will just say, I don't know what to do. I've tried this, this, this and this, and it's just not working. So it's a mixture of complete desperation and overwhelm. And fertility and struggling with it and infertility is overwhelming. Even just going through the process of getting pregnant, if you are lucky enough to just get pregnant and stay pregnant naturally, it's almost a bit of a cliche. Oh, well, you haven't had any problems. It's a big thing for women to go through. It's a big thing for us to go through physically, mentally, emotionally. Our body changes, we change, our role as a woman, wife changes, we become a mother. So even if we haven't had any problems with fertility and infertility, it's a big change, it's huge. So when we're so desperate for something to happen, whether that be a week that we've been trying, a month, a year, 10 years, it doesn't matter. And I really hate the stigma on, well, you're only struggling with infertility if you've had to go and have treatment, or you're only struggling with infertility if you've had a miscarriage at this many weeks. When you are struggling with infertility, whether you've been trying a week, a month, a year, whether you've had a miscarriage at 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 10 weeks, later on, and you've had to give birth, your loss and your emotions is your loss and your emotion. Don't let anybody play that down or dampen that down. You feel how you feel. And I'm hugely passionate about this because it's something that I didn't talk about a lot. I didn't know how to identify my emotions at all. Some of that comes from childhood things, and when you work on yourself, you get that. Not a bad thing, but I'm an army brat. My dad was army, and he was like, you don't talk about your emotions, come on, get on. And that's no one else's fault. That was me. As I got older, I needed to take some responsibility and learn how to identify my emotions and how to deal with them. And I certainly couldn't express them. I was the classic bottle of pop. It built and built and built and built, and then someone like let a little bit out of the top, and it's like, when you see those experiments with like Coke and Mentos, and it just like flows over. That was me. So probably about every like 3 or 4 months, I'd just have this huge blowout. Everything had to come out, and sometimes my husband would be there looking at me like, oh God, I only forgot to like put the toilet seat down or put the lid back on the toothpaste or something really simple. But it wasn't about that. It was everything that I just pent up and pent up and pent up, and all the little things had come out, and it doesn't do you any good. And I'm sure I'm not telling you something that you either A, don't know, or that B, someone else isn't or hasn't already told you. So people will come to me and say, I feel like this, I feel like this, I feel like this. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go, and I don't know how to deal with it. So I know how I feel, or I know that I feel overwhelmed. I know that I feel bitter or jealous or angry or resentful. And they are all perfectly normal things with fertility struggles. So first of all, don't beat yourself up. And I say that because when I was struggling, so really quick overview about me, if you haven't tuned in before, we struggled to get pregnant for a number of years. I was diagnosed with endometriosis at the age where all of my friends around me were getting pregnant, and I had some bitter and jealous and resentful feelings, and I thought that it made me an awful person, a horrible friend. So then not only was I beating myself up about not being able to get pregnant and being a failure at that, I was then beating myself up because I thought I was an awful friend. And oh my God, why does anyone want to be friends with me? Why do I think I'm such a terrible person? I'm horrible. I wasn't, and I'm not. It's perfectly normal to feel those things. It's how we then express them. And if we don't express them, we come back to that bottle of pop where we're just overflowing and overflowing. So first thing I'm going to do, really simple, is a bit of a checklist of some of the feelings that you might just be feeling. Hopefully you'll be sitting there going, oh, thank God it's not just me, because that's the main answer I get off people. Most people will go, oh my God, I'm so glad it's not just me. And when we do like group sessions and things, people will be like, you know what, I feel I've got a baby shower coming up, or I've got a christening, or you know, someone announced at work today that they're pregnant and I just really struggled, and why am I doing that? I'm such an awful person and I just can't cope with it, and I'm making excuses, I can't go to things. You're not. It is normal to feel like that. You've got to get in tune with those feelings because it's not going to go away. So just a really quick list, and feel free to add anything else below or message it me. Exhausted, overwhelmed, desperate, emotional, lonely, jealous, bitter, resentful, angry, devastated, failure, not worth it, at fault. It was always my fault. I never ever even considered the fact that it wasn't my fault. From day one, as soon as we couldn't get pregnant, because I'd got a diagnosis, I was like, yeah, it's my fault. And I spoke about it so like flippantly. I'd say to people, like people would go, oh, you know, you're struggling a while. And straight away, it was like, yeah, it's my fault. Nothing wrong with Mark. And there wasn't anything wrong with Mark, but there wasn't anything wrong with me. Me having endometriosis didn't mean I was a failure. It didn't mean I was a loser. It didn't mean that my husband was going to run away and marry someone else and have their babies, because that is where I'd got my head to, because I was overwhelmed, desperate, anxious. So the first thing I do when I work with people is say, okay, write down everything that you want to, good, bad, ugly. We're not going to give it to anyone. We're not going to show anyone. We're just going to get it all out. And if you don't already do this, journaling is a really good way to be able to get everything out. And this is why I created the safe space, so the Fertility Coach support group, just to get all the stuff out, I nearly swore then, all the stuff out that we want to get out, and that you probably can't understand if you've never gone through it or are going through it. And sometimes all the stuff that, you know, people think, oh, I don't want to say because I don't want to be negative, and people don't want to hear it, and people have got their own stuff and they're going through that and they don't want to hear about my struggles, and, you know, it's just going to come across like I'm a bad friend and I'm bitter and I'm jealous and I'm angry. So a lot of the time we hold back. Don't, because it will not get you anywhere personally or within your relationship. And when I talk about within your relationship, I don't just mean your partner, your marriage, whatever it may be, your spouse, because you will find that if you're doing that, they're doing that too. And then if you can imagine two bottles of pop like coming like this, the reality is they're both probably not going to blow at the same point, but one of you is going to blow, and very often it will cause the other one to just, and then all the stupid stuff comes out. You know, you use the last of the milk, and it's certainly for my husband normally like, you snore so bad, I can't sleep, but all that stuff comes out, and it's almost like turning the oven and turning the oven and turning the oven, and then being surprised when we get burnt. And we're turning it way more than we need it on, and, you know, we're surprised when we put our hand in and we get burnt or it's too hot, or we're surprised that our food gets burnt because we've had it on way too long. And that's almost like, it's like getting our fingers burnt because we're not dealing with it. And it's that thing, isn't it, of if we're touching something, getting our fingers burnt, coming back, but then doing the same thing. And if we don't break the cycle and break those emotions down, learn to identify them and where they've come from, and a lot of it will be surrounding self-beliefs and limiting self-beliefs. So, like me, like on some of the list, I'm a failure, it's my fault, he's going to leave me, how could he love me, I don't love myself, I don't respect myself. With me, it affected so much more. So I didn't take any time to do my hair, my makeup, I didn't think I was worth anything, I stopped going out with friends, I didn't find joy in anything anymore. And it was all emotional. It was all just because I beat myself up so bad. And I convinced myself that it was my fault or it was something that I'd done in the past, somehow, way, shape or form. And really, my biggest regret is that I didn't know how to do this earlier. I didn't go and learn and take the time and invest in myself, not only financially but time-wise, to do this stuff. So the only time that I really started to analyse this stuff was second time round on IVF, and I was like, no, we've got to pay for this. It's going through it all again. We're not getting any younger. We really need to start seeing some results here, sort of thing. So what can I do differently? And I acknowledge that power. That sounds really like a power trip, but you do lose power when you're going through fertility treatment because somebody's saying to you, take this tablet then, inject this then, do this suppository then, don't do the baby dancing stuff then, but do it then, and, refrain from that then, and do this, and no, you can't have a drink, and no, you can't do that, and don't drink any more coffee, and someone's taking your power away in every sense of the word, and it's frustrating, and you just feel like someone's almost taking your body over, your mind, your heart, your soul, spirit, and starting all over again, and you're hanging on dearly on the roller coaster, on that ride until it stops or until something happens. And second time round, I thought, okay, I'm going to do something different this time. What we did first time wasn't working, it hasn't worked, so I'm going to do something different. And I started having acupuncture every week. I started going to hypnotherapy, and they were both based around fertility. So when I made the inquiries, I said to both, we're going through fertility treatment. By this point, it had been like 4.5, 5 years. And I was like, okay, it's not working for us. I need to do something different. I need to try something else. I'm fine, I'm healthy, I'm this, I'm that, because I really thought I was. And I thought that every single problem I had, or that my marriage had, or that we had, or that was happening at work, in friendships, at home, about myself, I thought that everything was related to fertility, and that if and when I got pregnant, there was going to be, bam, magic switch, and it was all going to go away. Sorry to tell you, but there is not a magic switch. That really hit me hard, because I expected to be like, ta-da, back to myself, back to good, fun-loving Charlie. Didn't happen. So anyway, I started going for fertility, acupuncture and hypnotherapy. And the acupuncture was amazing. I carried on with that the whole way through my pregnancy pretty much. And the hypnotherapy, I didn't really understand much at the time about the subconscious mind, how powerful it was, what it controlled. And I always liken it to, depends what sort of person you are. If you've had a couple of drinks and people say, the truth comes out in drink. And sometimes you think, I shouldn't have said that. Or I did feel like that, but maybe I should have said it in a different way. The subconscious mind is like that. It holds no bars. There is no filter. There's no explanation. It's just like bam. And it puts something to the front of our brain here. And it's almost like a whirlwind. It's a bit like a slideshow, and it takes all the good, the bad and the ugly and plays it and plays it and plays it and plays it. All of the negatives, all the things that have happened before. And there's a few positives in there too. Mainly negative, and the subconscious mind controls 95% of what we do, at least. So it doesn't know the difference between fact and fiction. It doesn't know the things we want to be reminded about and the things that we don't. There's no common sense or logic to the subconscious mind. It literally just blurts everything out. Hence me saying it's a bit like having a drink sometimes, if you've ever done that. So I went to this hypnotherapist very naively thinking I was just going to talk about fertility and not being able to get pregnant. And to begin with, we did. And when you're having hypnotherapy, which is why I love it and it's a huge part of my program, whatever you need to come out will. Because we tap into the subconscious mind, and it's like these things rise. So all the things we've been thinking and feeling that we've dealt with, or we think we've dealt with maybe, come to the top, to the surface, and come out one way or another. And the amazing thing about hypnotherapy is your mind will take you wherever you need to go. So some weeks I'd come out and think, I didn't really even talk about like fertility or my miscarriage or when I had that chemical pregnancy or like the effect it's having on my marriage. And as a result of my hypnotherapy, I found out that I really struggled with my femininity, that I felt like that had been stripped away from me. I felt like I'd lost friendships. I felt that I didn't feel womanly, attractive, all of those things that help with your partner and, you know, all that animal instinct. I felt that he felt guilty and he was stuck with me now because he'd look terrible if he left me now. And he'd promised me and we'd just got married, and I felt that I was going to be a bad mom and someone was stopping me from being a mom because, God, maybe they knew something I didn't. And all this stuff just went, and it was stuff that sometimes I'd had in my brain. I'd be like, you know, just leave that. And it comes up whether we like it or whether we don't. So some weeks I'd come out of there and think, oh God, I've paid that money and I haven't really spoke about fertility or like the IVF we're having or like these injections or, you know, whatever. But little did I know it was helping everything else to start to come to the top. Now, I couldn't expect miracles because I'd only started it when we were starting the IVF. So again, up until this point, I naively thought that, okay, well, I'm going to get pregnant and I'll stop all the hypnotherapy and I'll stop all that because I'll just feel wonderful again. It didn't happen that way. So I carried it on. And I went for hypnotherapy about a lot of other things, and it's still something I continue to do now to this day. And I cannot express to you how much it changed my life, which is why it's a huge part of my program. So just some really quick tips on feelings, and it's something that we could talk about for hours and hours and hours. When you have a feeling, whether it be about your fertility or whether it's not, whether it be about your journey or if you've unfortunately been through a miscarriage or anything like that, or it's just not happening and it's been a while and you can see that it's taken its toll on you and your marriage, start to think, okay, why am I feeling like that? Do I just feel like that today? Or have I felt like that for a while? So that's a really good one, because we can go off on a bit of a roller coaster of how we feel today on that thing, on that particular feeling, and think, well, okay, well, you know, we're having a bad day. I've got up out of bed, stubbed my toe, and everything's going like bad, and that thing, I'm just going to go with it. And sometimes it's not that thing. It's just that we're in that mood and we don't know why. So do I feel like that today, or have I felt like that for a while? That's a really good first question to ask in your head. And if you felt like it for a while, okay, where's that come from? And that is the one question that a lot of people will not ask themselves and don't ask. We very flippantly say, you know, I'm an emotional person, or I'm a closed person, or certainly in my younger years, I was nicknamed the Ice Queen. I never really showed any emotion or weakness, as I called it. Now it's like the floodgates have opened and I cry at everything. So why do I feel like that? I used to say, oh, you know, and I almost used to brag about it. I'd be like, oh, you know, I'm a bit of an Ice Queen, and as if it made me like some strong warrior. No, it didn't, because I wasn't like that. I just held it all in here. So why do I feel like that? Have I put a label on myself, or has someone else put a label on me that I need to be a certain way, act a certain way, and almost put this false front on sometimes? Or do I feel like that because maybe I don't think that people will want to hear what I feel, or they're interested, or they won't know what to say and I don't want to make them feel awkward, or we've decided that we're not going to tell anyone about our fertility journey. So do I feel like this today, or has it been a while? Second question, where's that come from? Do I know? And if you don't know, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up too much about it. But generally we'll know. We know most of the time why we feel a certain way. It could be childhood, it could be something that's happened. And how do I deal with it? So if it's if answer to the first question is, I just feel like it today, give yourself a bit of time, be easy on yourself. Okay, maybe I'm just having one of those days, it's a bit of a bad day, but remember to ask myself tomorrow. If it's that I've been feeling that way for a while now, what can I do about it? Can I help myself in some way, shape or form? Do I need to relax? Can I do some meditation, some affirmations, some hypnotherapy, some acupuncture, some Reiki? Reiki is brilliant, and it is a treatment that's available as a distance therapy, which is great at the moment with the pandemic. Do I need to speak to someone? Do I need to speak to a coach or a counsellor? What can I do to help myself? Is it just that I need to switch off a little bit? Is it that I need to sit down with my partner at the kitchen table and say, right, this is how I feel? And my thing was, I didn't express myself well at all. It was always my weak point with everyone. And I used to text Mark and say, we need to speak tonight about this. And because I knew I'd sent the message, I knew he would say to me that night, right, come on, what do we need to talk about? Whereas if I'd thought in my head, oh, I'll speak to him when I get home. So do those little things that will prompt you. Send a message, write a letter, or even just say, you know, I've got some things going on and I don't know how to deal with it. And generally that will make your partner read you. So they'll be like, okay, well, do you want some time? Do you want me to speak to you about it? And that's where your communication will start to improve. Then it goes on to how to express it. So try to avoid getting to the bottle of pop situation, because it doesn't help anyone, trust me. And you've got to, again, decide on your avenue. So to begin with, if you don't feel great expressing yourself, text message, letter. Certainly something I recommend people that are going through fertility treatment, and as part of my programme, we talk a lot about how to communicate with your partner and also the people around you. So I used to get really frustrated with sometimes friends and my parents and his parents and other people, like, oh God, how don't they know? How don't they know what we're going through? Of course they understand what we're going through. They didn't, because sometimes we didn't. Mark didn't understand what I was going through, and I didn't understand what he was going through, because we were looking at it as two different perspectives because we hadn't spoke about it. I was going through IVF, so he was in the lane of, well, I didn't moan about anything. She's the one doing all the injections, and she's the one lying there, and she's the one doing all this. You know, I'm just sort of going along for the ride. So I'll be the strong one, and, you know, I'll take it all on the chin. Very English. And then I'm on this lane, like frantic, like emotional, being like, oh my God, he's not interested, and why isn't he asking me any questions, and he mustn't love me, see, he's going to leave me, and just driving myself completely crazy. If he cared more, he'd express it more, and how doesn't he know how I feel? He's not psychic. Like, yeah, you know each other well, but we still have to say these things sometimes. So we were both just in different lanes, going at completely different speeds, him trying to be the strong one, me thinking, oh, well, I'm not going to ask for help then. Big mistake. We just ended up going on bang. And I resented him for a long time. And that's really a hard thing to say about your partner and your husband. And we hadn't long been married, so I was like, God, we're doomed for failure. Luckily we're not. 11 years on, we're still here. So, but we have done that quite a few times. So, question 1, just to review, really quick review. Do I feel like this today? Or have I been feeling this way for a while? If it's just today, give yourself a bit of time. Question 2, how and why do I feel like this? Do I know? If you do, what can I do about it? Can I seek help? Can I just take some time for myself? Do I need to acknowledge something that's going on now or in the past? Or is it just a matter of me being a bit kinder to myself, relaxing a little bit more? If I don't know, then start investigating that, and your mind will take you to where you need to know. How to deal with it, how to express yourself, letter, text message, note on the fridge, whatever it may be that you need to do, until you can get to the point where you say, okay, we need to sit down and talk about this. And like I say to the people on my programme, right, write a letter to each other. You can give it to yourselves now, or something I really encourage is writing a letter to yourself when you're going through fertility treatment, and opening that when you've had your child, because it is amazing to do that and see how far you've come. So stop taking things away from yourself, stop beating yourself up. All the jealous, anger, bitter, resent, exhausted, emotional, overwhelmed. It's normal, unfortunately. Don't beat yourself up. You're not the only person who feels that way. You're not a bad person, bad friend, bad wife, bad partner, bad spouse because you feel those things. So if you need more help with that, then let me know. I did see a question pop up, so I'm just gonna scroll back. I know it was about acupuncture. How does acupuncture help with infertility? Okay, so it's really relaxing, and I know that you're probably thinking, what, having needles stuck in you? And it is a little bit weird to begin with, I'm not gonna lie. I was a bit like, oh god, how is this gonna be relaxing? But talking about feelings, I was desperate. I would have tried anything, absolutely. And I think, to be fair, at some point I did try everything I could find on Google anyway. Good old Google. So acupuncture is really relaxing. Subconsciously, it helps with, I'm doing something, I'm taking back some control, I'm making some positive changes. You know, I'm really committing to this process, so that the mind is definitely then starting to get to a more positive place. Physically, in our being, it does relax us. And it sounds really stupid, but we have to lie still for an hour, which, if you're anything like me, we don't do well, but you have to lie there. And then physically, body-wise, it really helps with blood flow, which we all want the blood flowing to those areas, without being too graphic. So blood flow, great. A lot of the time, people will not only do you acupuncture, so you expect maybe, or maybe it was just me, that I went in for acupuncture and I thought that they would just put needles around my stomach. I didn't. I had them in my feet, I had them in my head, I had them in my ears, I had them in my neck, I had them in my back, my legs, all over. And certainly here, because, oh my God, the amount of tension that we hold here just in an everyday life anyway. But when you're struggling with infertility and you've got all these thoughts, feelings and emotions just completely whizzing round, we hold it all here. So I tend to find here at these points, that really helps. And it's pretty much like an automatic, you know, like when they put the needle in, you're like, you know, like years ago when you used to see those things and it was like sleep, you'd be like, because it just lets everything out. It's like an escape, if that makes sense. So it helps with blood flow, helps with exhaustion. It really helped me sleep hugely. I've always suffered with my sleep, but certainly when we were trying again with the IVF, it was really, really tough. It helped me to balance my emotions. I felt when I came out of there that I was sort of like walking on like clouds, and I just felt like, okay. Acupuncture has got absolutely amazing results with IVF. So if you don't know about that, definitely, and IVF is something that you're going through, then the amount of research with IVF is amazing. I had IVF twice. Second time round, I had acupuncture, and that's the time it worked. Now, I can't, and I'm not going to say it's that worked. I don't know whether it was that, whether it was the hypnotherapy, whether it was just me because I was in such a better place than first time round. I don't know, but I know that it helped me mentally and emotionally and physically. So it helps with blood flow, it helps with emotions, it helps with you relaxing, it helps your mind so much. Most people who, you know, whatever area you're in, there will be somebody who does acupuncture for fertility. Try and get somebody who is a specialist in it if possible. And don't be scared of it, because a lot of people will say to me when they're working with me privately, I'll say, you know, do something for you as well, just a little bit of time out, and just you escaping out of the house for that hour or hour and a half, whatever it may be, is just your little escape. It's your time. And a lot of people, you say, oh yeah, but needles, and I've just had a transfer, and oh my God, and or I know I'm like 8 weeks pregnant now or 12 weeks pregnant. It's okay. I had IVF the whole way through. I had IVF and then I had acupuncture the whole way through. I had it the day before my transfer, and then straight after my transfer, I went to that appointment. And I'm not gonna lie, I was like, if you've had IVF, you will know you need to hold yourself and not go to the toilet. And then they let you off, and it's like, yeah, you can go to the toilet now. And you sort of, I remember walking along the corridor, like both times, like, I don't want to go to the toilet because I don't want this egg to come out. And that they even make it like a standard. Don't worry, you cannot wee that egg out. You will not do it. Like, it's not going to happen. But you're still thinking, well, you know, if you're in that mindset, well, if anyone's going to do it, it'll be me. And I was thinking, you know, I drove to my acupuncture appointment and I was like, oh my God, what if this woman does something to hurt my baby? And like, you know, this is our last shot, or we've got to save the money again. But honestly, the relaxation that I felt was just incredible. And a little thing for me to end on, because I have gone on a bit today, but emotions is, I could talk about it for weeks. Acupuncture, first time round with IVF, I knew I wasn't pregnant. I knew it. I knew it in my being, in my soul, in my body, in my mind. I knew I wasn't. And that crushed me because I really thought I'd be full of hope. And I just knew that I wasn't. Don't ask me how, I don't know, but I did. And I went for acupuncture the day of my transfer, and I lay there and I was like, yep, I'm going to be pregnant. And to feel that, oh my God, like I'm like getting emotional thinking about it now, to just finally have that, like, yep, everything's going to be okay. Because I'd done so much work on myself. Now, I went for acupuncture again 2 days later, and again had that feeling, yep, this is going to be it. Now, if you've had IVF, you will know, and same as, you know, trying to get pregnant naturally, it's a 2-week wait. And people were saying, okay, you can't do a test for 2 weeks. And first time round, I didn't even want to do the test because I knew it was going to come back, but I knew I'd got to ring the clinic and tell them. Second time round, within 4 days after my transfer, I said to my mum, I bet you £1,000 I'm pregnant. That's how much it helped me. So when I say about how much hypnotherapy and acupuncture helped me, I mean it changed my life, because it gave me that chance. It gave me that, yeah, I can do this. And I had never had that before. I've never had that. Hypnotherapy still helps me to this day, with not just fertility things, with grief, with myself, with my emotions, with my business, with expressing myself, with sleep, with diet, with eating, with exercise. It helps with a lot. But if emotions is something that you are struggling with, then please feel free to reach out to me privately, and I'll help as much as I possibly can. But emotions is the first step of you really taking back that control, because that's what so many people crave and want. And I get that. We just want to be able to control and help something. And that, in a nutshell, is why my program is called the Calm Conception Program, and it's about women taking back control, because we can. Don't feel lost. Don't feel hopeless. Don't feel, oh, well, I've got a diagnosis, so that's it now. A lot of people will say to me, you know, I've been told now that IVF's my only option, or I've been told now that this is my only option, or it's just not going to happen. And I get it, you've got to have like a point of, okay, that's the line. But the amount of women, and I can't say names, and I wouldn't obviously for privacy reasons, but I've got a lady who's pregnant at the moment who's been working with me. And I spoke to her August last year, and she said, I've been told really, like, my endometriosis is that bad that it's now or never to get pregnant. And now, like, it's just not happening. Like, I don't feel, my head is all over the place. I don't feel like it's okay. My emotions are just going wild. Like, I'm scared, I'm desperate, I'm like lonely almost, because I just don't feel like no one else has gone through it in my family. None of my friends have. My friends are all having babies. I can't even hold them. And I just don't know. Like, I'm scared about my relationship. Are we ready? You know, what's going to happen with my job? And she'd got herself, understandably, in a complete tears, and just almost resigned herself to the fact that it wasn't going to happen. And she's pregnant. And she had tried so much, but she hadn't tried anything here. She hadn't tried anything with the mind. She'd sat Googling and Googling and Googling, and we all love a good Google, but unfortunately a lot of the time it's quite negative. And I talk all the time and make almost a joke of it, that I knew more of what was going on with people's stories and their journeys than my own, because I spent that much time researching other people that I didn't research myself and my own journey. And that was a boom moment for me. Bang, light bulb. Why am I doing that? I need to concentrate on myself, my journey. And this lady just said to me when she'd worked with me, man, like, I know it's going to happen. And I am like, I am an emotional person now. Probably too much sometimes. And like when clients come and tell me that they're pregnant, I still cry because what we're doing and the emotions that I feel because of the emotions that I've helped them deal with. I'm so pleased for them and I'm so proud of them because they've done the work themselves. So step one is always get your emotions in check, because if you are like me and you think that when you get and stay pregnant, there's a light switch and you can switch all of that off and it's all going to go away, it doesn't happen. And unfortunately for me, I did fall into that trap. You know, I felt so sure, I felt so great. And then I let my anxiety go on and be like, okay, well, oh God, you know, what if I lose this baby like I lose the others? And oh my God, I'm not going to know what to do. And oh my God, I'm not going to bond with this baby. And oh my God. And you know what we think we feel, what we believe we attract. And it's 100% true. And a lot of people will say with fertility, oh, you know, it's a load of BS, all the emotions and all the thoughts and the self-belief and the mindset. And if that's your opinion, that's your opinion. But to me, I just go, what harm can it do? What harm can it do to get ourselves in the best possible place, physically, mentally and emotionally, to conceive, whether it be naturally or with fertility treatment? We've got to look after ourselves, and we live in a world and society now where it's almost like a bragging point if we're more exhausted than someone else. And I've done that. Oh, you know, like, or we've had a harder journey than someone else. Like, that's not a bragging point. That's not something we should be proud of. We need to take the control back and just get ourselves in the best possible place. And do you know what? If we want to believe that the mindset works, it will. Jenny, message me. My personal tag here, Charlotte Lowe's Harris, is on here, which you can always contact me on. I'm not only message me on this page, or my Facebook page is the Fertility Coach. So message me and we'll see how we can help. So don't be scared. It is a scary concept to think, oh God, you know, I really need to deal with all these emotions that I've been dealing with the whole of my fertility journey, and oh my God, what's going to come up, and oh my God, sometimes I know I'm not really that rational, but it's only going to snowball otherwise. And don't do what I did. Don't get where you've got your beautiful baby there and you just don't know what to do, because I felt numb. I didn't deal with my emotions and it turned into postnatal depression. And the fact that I went from being so like, yes, I'm going to be pregnant. Yes, I just know. I know I am. And within 4 days, boom, I got a positive test. That's unheard of. Like, I was like, yeah, bang, I know I'm pregnant. And I knew that time I was going to stay pregnant, but I didn't carry on the mindset work. I carried on all the other stuff, carried on the hypnotherapy, carried on the acupuncture, but I didn't carry on being positive, dealing with my emotions, because again, I'd flicked that switch then and I was like, yeah, I'm pregnant, I'm going to stay pregnant, it'll be okay. Got further down the line, it wasn't okay. I bled, I had really bad times where she wasn't moving, I had a really traumatic labour, I nearly lost her, I nearly went myself, because I hadn't worked on myself. And yes, some of that still may have happened if I'd have worked on myself. But you know what? Don't do a me. Don't look back and think, oh my God, why didn't I carry that on? Why didn't I do that? Because you know what? Like, I'm a mum now. I've got a busy business. I'm homeschooling. You know, I'm a wife. Whatever. But I always make the time now for here, because it is number one. That rules so much of us. So don't let anyone dampen down your emotions. Don't let anybody dampen down what you think, feel, whatever, because what you feel is what you feel, whether someone else understands that or not. They don't need to. It's you and your feelings and your journey. So if you do need any help, please reach out to me privately. Like I say, I have got a private group, which is the Fertility Coach support group, completely private, secure, for you to share your journey, tell your story, rant, rave, cry, scream, talk to me, and build friendships with other people, because that really helps when you can speak to people who have been through or are going through something the same or similar. So really start to ask yourselves those questions with your emotions today and do the work on you to make your journey as smooth as possible. So thank you for watching, guys. If you've got any other questions, either send them obviously to Your Baby Club and I'll respond, or to me privately. So enjoy the rest of your day, and please take care, and remember just to take some time for you.